Since the dawn of time, Factorio content creators have researched the answer to one question. How do you make a good, fully edited and comprehensive Pyanodons series without evaporating your brain into an empty husk? I don't know about good, but I want to introduce you to my idea for the fully edited, comprehensive and not brain-melting part of that question. Bite-sized Pyanodons. Over the next however long, I'm going to be making little videos solving individual parts of this mod and trying to cover it in the same amount of depth as my normal videos. To be fully upfront, I don't expect to ever finish the entire mod pack, but I hope that my meander into it, to whatever depth I manage, will still be entertaining. The very opening of Pyanodons is surprisingly more simple than you might expect. We mine rocks, smack down a few burner miners in a snake on a coal patch, and set up some miners running into furnaces on an iron patch. Burner miners in Pyanodons produce ore 4 times as fast as in vanilla, and mine in a 4x4 area, which is nice, but each iron plate takes 8 iron ore, which is not nice. Miners and furnaces also consume way more coal, and the coal itself has a lower energy value. That's because what we're dealing with now is raw coal, which looks a bit like a plot from Slime Rancher and holds only 3 megajoules of energy, enough to run a furnace for like 15 seconds, or a miner for 6. It's shit, is what I mean to say. It's just shit. Just like in vanilla, I unlock steam power after producing enough iron plates, and I next go to mine and smelt copper so that I can unlock automation science packs. As soon as that happens, I get straight to crafting a lab. I'm gonna mentally prep you quickly. This mod has a lot of custom assets, and with scope this big, not all of them are good. I get what they were going for here, but like, this ain't it. Even worse, it's so tall that if you build it remotely near anything else, you can't see what you've built for like 4 tiles behind it. Looking inside the lab, you can see the absolute hell I've gotten myself into. Anyway, whilst things smelt, I decide to go out and mine up some rocks. They have the usual stone and raw coal, but also a chance to drop moss, which is something we'll make use of further down the line. All that stone I make into more miners and furnaces because that 8:1 ore to plate ratio is killing my throughput, and buildings are expensive in this mod. It's time for me to use the first of the weird and quirky ore deposits dotted around here. I've crafted a flora collector, and by placing it on a bioreserve patch, we can harvest native flora, an ingredient in the automation science pack. The other 2 are small parts, which we just make with iron and copper, and planter pots, which are a beast of their own I'll sort of get into. But you are hearing me right. The first science pack of Pyanodons is basically a fucking hanging plant pot. They have played us for fools. The collector needs electricity to run, so I run off with a pipe to connect water from a nearby lake. In an inane perversion of the natural order, the ratio of boiler to steam engine has been flipped, creating this abomination. To make planter pots, we're going to need stone bricks, the recipe for which is identical to vanilla. The problem comes in actually mining the stone, as when mining a stone patch, we get equal parts kerogen, a fuel just like coal, and a royal pain in the arse. Since just running the miner straight into the furnace would only work for like 10 minutes until the kerogen backs up and bricks it, I instead mine the stone straight into a chest and move it by hand into furnaces. This process is only slightly bearable thanks to the even distribution mod. So, wood, stone and iron plate an empty planter pot do make, but to fill it we need dirt and ash. Dirt can be made for free from water, just dredged up from the ground, and ash is so common I'll be relieved to get rid of it. You see, every single thing that burns creates ash as a byproduct. Every coal that we place into a miner or furnace or boiler or whatever the fuck turns into ash, which needs to be dealt with. The only reason this hasn't turbo bricked my factory yet is because 1, this isn't really a factory yet, and 2, because ash stacks to 1,000, which gives us essentially a grace period before we need to start dealing with it. Whilst I've been yapping, I was handcrafting the 20 automation science packs required for, well, automation. Then, whilst that's researching, I'm handcrafting a load of inserters so I can set up some hand automated science ASAP and save myself from this handcrafting hell into the much more mild hand feeding hell. Soon enough the research finishes and I get my first few assemblers crafted. They require burner fuel to run, which kind of sucks, but they craft twice as fast as vanilla ones to make up for it. The beginner inserters thankfully aren't burner, and they aren't electric either. They run on either magic or pure willpower, taking no inputs. You can see now from this setup the ingredients which make up small parts. Copper cable from copper, and gears and bolts from iron. These parts aren't only important for the science pack, they're also used for most buildings. I can just hook the native flora right up to the science assembler, and then set up the planter pots as well. When you mine a tree in Pyanodons, you get logs, which I'm then turning into wood using this big fancy sawmill. This is definitely one of those custom sprites for the mod which absolutely hit the spot. As far as researches go, I'm quite spoiled for choice. I end up deciding on coal processing, into steel processing, into ash separation, because at the moment we have precisely 0 other ways to deal with ash, besides just dump it into a chest to worry about later. A light 52 minutes into my run, I realise I should maybe look at doing some automation in this automation game. We aren't going to have electric miners for a long time, so I run over to the coal patch with some burners to put together a small self-fueling miner stack. Another little quirk of early game Pyanodons is that we don't get splitters for a little while, meaning that for the moment I have to make these big rows of inserters to split the coal belt off. I run the offshoot from the coal line straight over to some burners on the iron patch. I'm very purposefully only using half of the belt for coal, because when I start finding ways to deal with ash, I can run it out on the other side of the belt for easy extraction. With automated coal and iron ore on a belt, I can bring it together in this furnace stack to finally get automated iron plates. Iron is only half of the equation, of course, so I start running this long ass belt out to the copper patch. Belts are far from the most expensive thing we have to build, but they aren't cheap either, meaning this takes a little while to collect all the resources to build it. After more waiting for more iron, I get a copper mine shot together, and then copy the smelting stack again to automate copper plates. Pulling items out of a furnace is the first time I'm having to actively engage with the ash byproduct, and can't just ignore it. For the moment I'm going to herd it off into wooden chests once it comes out of the furnaces, and I'll come back around later for a more elegant solution. Although this part is mainly just meant to be an introduction to the series, I do have a small goal for it. Automate small parts. I would genuinely say like 50% of my time so far in the run has been spent crafting small parts, so getting them automated will massively boost my progress going forward. I get the setup put together pretty quickly, and many of you may argue that it's not really automated, because I'll have to come back every few hours to top up the kerogen in the assemblers, and empty the ash chests every few days, but I severely doubt these setups will be around that long, and I don't have a good way to deal with it all right now, so for the moment, this is automated. As my final act, I move all the science production over here, so that 2/3 of automation science is fully automated. That last third is the biggest problem, and it might actually take us a good few episodes to actually get that bit automated, but for today, that's about it. Tell me in the comments if you like the idea for the series and want it to continue. Like and subscribe if you like me and subscribe me. And I would like to give a special thanks to my Ko-Fi supporters, whose names are on screen now, for helping me do what I do. I look forward to seeing you next time, when we'll start digging a bit more into the guts of this mod.